My name's Tyack. I'm the master franchisor for Signarama in Southern Africa, and I'm responsible for 34 franchises in that area. Choosing Signarama as a master seemed logical to us. We were looking for a business in the late 90s to open up in South Africa, and we were looking for something where there would always be a demand for the product, a demand for the service, and signage sort of came to mind, because as long as people can see, they'll need visual cues, and signs will be needed. So there's always going to be a demand for signs. It's at that point that we began our investigations looking for a reputable business, and our search led us to Signarama. We made an introductory call with Ray and the team in 1999, and we opened up our pilot store in South Africa in early 2000. Being part of Signarama and a franchise system where essentially you're part of a much bigger team, what that really does for you is it reduces your school fees. It's a recipe for success, and there's no business that guarantees success. But in a franchise system, generally what's happened over a period of time is that the systems and processes have been refined and improved. And if you adhere to those processes, obviously your chances of success are significantly higher than if you were to go on your own. In terms of the economies of scale, when you're dealing with vendors and suppliers, being part of a much bigger team, you're going to get better pricing. When it comes to marketing, having more consistency in your brand, more locations, is obviously much better than being an independent guy who people don't necessarily know. Attending events like SARCON are hugely, hugely important to the success of any Signarama owner. You're going to meet people who are at a further stage in the business, who are a bit further down the line, and in some cases who have made mistakes that you could learn from and not necessarily replicate yourself. The other reasons why it's very important to attend an event like SARCON are to build relationships with other franchisees in your area, maybe people from outside of your province or state. It's an opportunity to build relationships so that you've got somebody on the end of the line who's in the same environment as you are on a daily basis. I think one last thing that I'd like to emphasize is how important having the brand behind us during the pandemic has been. Having Signarama behind us meant that certainly in South Africa at least we were a couple of weeks ahead of the curve in terms of what was going to happen with shutdowns and lockdowns, and also in terms of demand for products and that sort of thing. This put us at a huge advantage, not just against our competitors, but to certainly other industries in South Africa. One of the keys to success in Signarama is obviously community involvement, and particularly in our country in South Africa, where there tends to be a lot of poverty, we try and give back wherever is possible. In the face of adversity, people come together, and we want to be seen to be part of that fight against anything that's happening that might cause suffering towards people. In South Africa, we recently had terrible floods in a particular area in the country, and one of the first things our franchisees did there was started to make signs which basically showed where there was dangerous ground or saturation in the area or unsafe areas to walk around, and handed those out to the local communities for free. Just one example of how giving back during times of adversity really does sort of pay back to you as a business owner at a later stage.